WNBA and Players Union near extension deadline without CBA resolution. What's next? The WNBA and the league's Players Union have held regular meetings since the sides agreed to a 30-day extension of the current collective bargaining agreement in late October. Sunday night marks the expiration, and significant gaps remain, especially regarding the league's salary system going forward, sources with knowledge of the discussions told The Athletic. During the last month, the two sides have exchanged updated proposals and continued meeting, including the latest bargaining session on Saturday, sources said. The WNBA has repeatedly proposed a system in which player salaries are linked to a percentage of the revenue generated by the league. The league had sent a proposal at the end of October that would allow players on maximum-level contracts to earn more than $1.1 million in total compensation per season, with that sum being made up of a combination of base salary, believed to be around $800,000 to $850,000 per sources, and a revenue-sharing component. Details of the revenue-sharing element have not been publicized, and players remained frustrated by the league's proposal, which was reported on in mid-November, as it did not reflect their desires for an overhauled system and instead had a fixed base salary component at its center. A resolution about continued negotiations is expected by Sunday's deadline, after one more meeting between the two parties. If the sides elect not to reach another extension, a work stoppage would still not take effect immediately. The sides would instead enter a period of status quo, which would keep working conditions the same and continue to allow players to use team facilities and receive medical benefits. However, at any point, the Players Union or a league could announce a work stoppage. The sides can also continue negotiating in the status quo period. The sides could still agree to another extension by Sunday's deadline. Before the 2020 CBA was reached, the league and Players Union agreed to two extensions, a 60-day extension and another 2-week extension, which ran until mid-January when a new agreement was reached. On October 30th, the sides agreed to an initial 30-day extension, with the union requesting a condition that allowed it to terminate the extension with 48 hours' notice. Both sides agreed to allow the other to have that termination clause, and they subsequently continued to meet, with neither side enacting it. Before the October 31st deadline, the league met virtually with team front office personnel to discuss the logistics of a possible work stoppage, The Athletic previously reported. The call was for due diligence and not made with the expectation of a lockout or strike. It is unknown if such a call occurred again in the days leading up to Sunday's deadline. However, the league provided an update on the state of the talks to its Board of Governors during league meetings in New York City on Nov. 17 and 18. Other issues are also being negotiated in addition to the salary framework, including formalizing the league-wide charter flight program and improving family planning benefits and health insurance. Sources said that they had discussed formalizing benefits for retiring and retired players. The status of the core designation is also expected to be discussed further as the talks continue, sources said. Prioritization, a rule ownership pushed to include in the 2020 CBA, requires most players competing internationally to return for the start of WNBA training camp or face suspension. The rule remains important to league management. The league has not submitted proposals that explicitly say WNBA players must compete exclusively in the WNBA and no other off-season leagues, sources said, and revisions to the league's draft eligibility rules have not been a meaningful discussion topic yet. If an agreement is not finalized by Monday, the off-season timeline for this winter will surely differ from last year. A delay could impact the timing of the upcoming expansion draft for the Toronto Tempo and Portland Fire. The Golden State Valkyries conducted their expansion draft on December 6, 2024. The draft rules are not finalized as the CBA will dictate them. WNBA free agency typically begins in mid-January, although that could also change depending on how talks progress.